What up, y'all? TJTB Photos here. I'm in the lab for a specific reason. I'm here to try to help a fellow photographer extend the backdrop on one of the pictures that she had captured. So this is not my image. I just want to go on record and say that. But I thought I put together somewhat of a tutorial on how to extend backdrops or how I extend backdrops. Um, I didn't go to school for this. I'm self-taught as far as photography goes and editing for that matter. But this is the way I've been extending backdrops, and it's been useful for me. So hopefully it can help somebody else. And yeah. Just let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is create two layers. I'm gonna turn off the original layer, which is locked. That way I can still have that in case I need to start over. But basically what I'm doing, I'm gonna go to the quick selection tool, let it auto select the subject. I'm gonna fill in some of the spots that I know for sure I still need. And I'll use this minus to take away the stuff that I don't need. And I'm not trying to be perfect with this selection because I'm going to create a mask, which is this little thing down here. And by doing that, because I have two different layers, I can go back with my paintbrush later and paint things in that I might have taken out by accident, or I can take stuff away that might not be needed. So basically I'm gonna go to my underneath layer. I'm gonna hold Command and I'm gonna select the previous selection, but that just selects it on the layer that I'm on. So while on this layer, I'm gonna take my selection and I'm gonna modify it. I wanna expand it a little bit because I'm gonna take this layer and I'm gonna make this selection. I'm gonna fill it in so everything is somewhat white already before I go to extend the backdrop. I'm also gonna add to this selection because there's pieces that was missing. But yeah, so I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna go to content aware field. I could have just clicked field, but I want to be more in control of what it's actually sampling from. That way I don't have to work so hard. So I'm just gonna take sample from the actual paper and not the surrounding pieces. Alright, again, this doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but when I go in later and blur the background, I don't want it to be sampling a bunch of different reds and pinks and things of that nature. So while I have this layer still visible, I'm going to take this rectangular marquee tool and I'm basically just going to select the areas in which I want to extend the backdrop or fill it in for that matter. To add to it, I'm going to hold shift. I'm just going to add the areas in which I want to fill. Alright, so once I have my area selected that I want to fill, I'm going to right click again and I'm going to go to content aware field. Alright, and again, I'm just going to sample from as much of the original backdrop as possible, or what's left. If you want more of an area to select from, you can pretty much change the area in which you select. All right, right now I'm just this is not gonna be perfect. This is basically like me, not so many words rushing to do this, just so I can have something to share as a instructional. But the more detailed you are in the areas in which you're sampling from, the better it'll be. But I'm being really, really reckless right now because I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna blur the background anyways. So, and that was the reason for me filling in the subject. So while I have this open, I'm gonna go to filter, blur, and then I'm gonna go to Gaussian blur. And basically I'm just gonna blur it to where it kind of just blends and makes sense, right? So that number may be different depending on the picture or the image that you're using. So right now I have something decent to work with. So I'm gonna turn my top layer back on, and now that the background is filled in, I'll go back to the layer mask, go to my paintbrush, and basically gonna go to the areas where it might be missing things. And oh, I'm back. So I'm gonna switch it back to white. So white is gonna fill in and black is gonna mask. So I'm gonna take my white and I'm basically gonna paint over the areas that are missing. And for the most part, that's how I go about extending my backdrops. So I'm gonna put these layers in a group, and then that way you have before and the after. Before, after.